Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review.
On a remote island in the middle of the boiling sea, two factions built their fortresses, facing each other at opposite ends of the battlefield. They suppress the enemy while searching for two ancient crystals which promise great power. Whoever can find the crystals first will be able to summon an almighty dragon and launch their final attack and obliterate their mortal enemies.
Crimson Keep, a self-published game by Nick Warren with art from Filippo Gallo. When you send a prototype for review and receive what looks like a production copy, you know you're dealing with someone's passion project. It is rare that a publisher sends you a refined version of the game when it hasn't yet been released. The review copy of Crimson Keep I received came with a bifold game board made from thick cardboard, two dual-layer player boards, a tuck box with a magnetic lid for each player to hold the decks of cards, tokens and gorgeous dice, a small cloth bag, custom wooden counters in the shape of a dragon head, and thick cardboard token. The game box itself is beautifully illustrated on the inside as well as the outside. Every card has its own unique illustration, and the game board and rulebook don't skimp on artwork either. Additionally, the players' components mirror each other. The illustrations on the cards are flipped left to right to face each other. Similarly, the tuck boxes have the dice on opposite sides for each player. Even the player boards are mirrored. So even if you're colorblind, you will know which side of the board the component should go. It's a level of detail that I've not seen in other games before. Just beware that Crimson Keep uses up a lot of space. The game board is huge to allow room for the two keeps, which will eventually grow to 5 cards high by 3 cards wide. Add your player boards on either side and you end up using up the whole table. So be aware of its size and make sure you have room to play it. Crimson Keep is a symmetrical action selection and tableau building game where both players have the same deck of cards. Most of the time you play cards from your hand. Building cards go on the game board to build your keep. Battle cards go into your barracks on your player board, from where they can enter the battlefield, while cavern cards also go on your player board and are boosters to buff other actions and abilities. You build the keep literally in 2D, starting at the bottom of the game board and adding more cards above to build up your column, or to one side to widen it. Each player builds their keep at their end of the game board, facing their opponent with the battlefield between them. The battlefield is where you place one of your battle cards from your barracks and then move it towards your opponent's keep. Your opponent will most likely play one of their battle cards to greet your warrior and to protect their keep. The reason for this is that if you are able to get your battle card through to your opponent's keep and successfully attack it, you can cause a whole column of cards to topple. That can be devastating, especially in the latter part of the game, when your opponent will have filled all 3 columns all the way to the level 5. It is a mechanism I haven't seen in other games and creates a constant threat that you have to protect yourself against. Battles themselves are resolved using dice rolls, attack and defense tokens, and battle cards that add together to an attack or defense value. Whoever has a higher number wins the battle. They're really quite quick and simple with a small amount of randomness without being completely luck-based. Another interesting mechanism in Crimson Keep, the cards need to be activated before they can be used. All of the cards are double-sided. One side is inactive, the other active. Every card enters the game on its inactive side. That's not much of a problem. To use a card you need to activate it first. For example, while you can move a battle card towards your opponent while it's inactive, you can only attack with it after it has been flipped to its active side. Similarly, cavern cards and cards with special abilities can only be used when active and are flipped back to their inactive side afterwards. That leads me nicely to the action selection part of Crimson Keep. Everything you do is an action and you have 2 actions on your turn. There are 3 main action tracks. One is for playing cards, another for flipping cards to the active side, and the third for using a card's special ability, or to attack. The clever bit is that every time you use an action, you move the dragon head counter 1 space along that track. Once the dragon token has reached the end of the track, you get a more powerful free action that you can use anytime, either on this turn or a future turn. Once you've used the free action, you move the counter back to the beginning of its track. The action tracks create a clever timing element in Crimson Keep and encourage you to do the same action repeatedly so that you move up the track more quickly. It's like charging up your power move in a computer game. Time it right and you get an extra powerful action at the perfect moment that can make a big difference. However, the ultimate goal in Crimson Keep is to collect runes which eventually allow you to summon your dragon. Each rune is a mini objective. For example, you get a rune when you have filled the bottom 2 rows of your keep, or when your barracks have 3 cards in them. Each rune is worth a certain number of points. When the total rune value reaches a certain threshold, and you have 3 special cards placed in your keep, you are ready to summon the dragon. Just be careful, the strength of the dragon is linked to the value of the runes. Ideally, you want to have collected all the runes to be able to summon the most powerful beast. However, if you wait too long, your opponent may be ready to summon their dragon before you. It's a bit of a race and a matter of timing it right and gauging what your opponent might be planning. Once the players decide to summon their dragon, Crimson Keep enters the endgame and the final battle begins. From now on, the player with the dragon places 4 cards into the center of the battlefield. The artwork of these cards is done in such a way that the 4 cards combine to make up the dragon, which covers up the monolith in the center for spaces, but still shows the background. It's a bit hard to describe, but a wonderful visual touch that you will really appreciate when you get to this stage of the game. The final battle is the all-deciding fight and lasts up to 4 rounds, during which the dragon attacks. If it fails, one of the 4 dragon cards is flipped over to show the dragon wounded by arrows, which is another wonderfully visual detail that makes Crimson Keep so much fun to play. If the dragon succeeds in its attack, one of the 3 columns of the opponent's keep collapses. All of the cards are removed from the board, another visual way of showing how the tower is weakened. While you might think that the dragon is bound to win, it's not a given. Even the most powerful dragon will struggle against an especially strong keep. If the opponent's tower has mostly active cards in it, especially active special summoning cards, it will be able to withstand a lot of damage. So you can never be sure when the time is right to launch the final attack, but eventually your hand is forced and the end is nigh. The final battle is the peak of the story arc the players have lived through during their game of Crimson Keep. You can really see the progress of your keep in armies in front of you. After slowly building up your keep and sending out warriors to weaken your opponent, you were eventually able to collect enough runes to summon your dragon. You've gone through a long, hard slog to finally reach the end. It's the last stand after which the better player will win. Crimson Keep is an epic game, not just because of its physical size, visual presentation and gorgeous production, but also in the gameplay and mechanism. You need to play it multiple times to master it. It's a 2-player battler like no other I've seen.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.